It's been enough time now that my pumpkin pitchers have set up enough to trim. I start doing this by centering them on the wheel, which is always a little tricky because of the extra lobes. I'm really only centering to the foot, which is the only part I'm able to trim. I then used my Sureform to kind of flatten the top of the pitcher off before going in and trimming just the foot. If I trim too far past the foot, I will end up cutting off some of those lobes and making them too thin. So I'm being very careful here to only trim where I've left the pot unaltered. I will have to take my trimming tool down the side just a tiny bit to blend those edges in, but I really don't have that much to take away in the first place. I threw these pots with about 2.5 pounds of clay and threw them as thinly as I could get away with, knowing that the pots are more difficult to trim because of their altered shape. It's definitely not impossible to trim them. It's quite easy to get them centered up if you're looking at the right spot, which is right along the foot. And then I don't have much along the sides, but there is a decently deep footwell to trim out. So I spend some time doing that, removing as much clay as I'm able. Trimming is always one of those processes that I find really satisfying to do and not so satisfying to edit footage of. There's lots of little clips and me moving my tools fairly quickly, but man, the spirals that fly off of the pots are always intensely satisfying. It can be really easy to get too distracted by the trimming spirals and trim too far, which thankfully does not happen in this case. Once I'm finished trimming, I'm going to take a damp sponge and smooth over the edge of the foot here, both softening it and giving it a little bit of a round shape so I can go in and alter it in the next video.